Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great English Podcast. I'm Mariana.
And I'm Mark. Thanks for joining us today. We've got an exciting episode lined up where we'll dive into how to build confidence in speaking English, tackle common challenges, and share practical tips you can start using today.
Before we get started, we have a question for our listeners. Have you ever felt nervous or unsure when speaking English? If so, how did you overcome it? Let us know in the comments below.
Excellent question, Ariana. It's something many of us have faced. Let's dive right in. One of the best ways to build confidence in speaking English is through immersive listening. Podcasts, like this one, are a fantastic resource.
Yes, listening to podcasts can greatly enhance your skills and boost your confidence. Plus, you get to hear how native speakers express their thoughts and ideas, which can improve your own conversational skills.
Speaking of which, let's talk about a common issue many learners face, the fear of making mistakes. Ariana, have you experienced this fear when speaking English?
Absolutely. When I first started learning, I would constantly worry about saying something wrong. But I've learned techniques to manage this fear, which I'll share later in the episode.
That sounds great. Fear of making mistakes can hinder our ability to communicate effectively. It's crucial to remember that making mistakes is a natural part of learning.
Absolutely, Mark. Now, let's discuss practical methods to build confidence in speaking English. One effective method is practicing with friends or language exchange partners. It not only helps with speaking skills but also reduces anxiety.
Engaging in conversations, even short ones, can significantly boost your confidence. You can also join language clubs or discussion groups to practice speaking in a supportive environment.
Another great method is recording yourself speaking. This can help you identify areas for improvement and track your progress over time. Listening to yourself can also help you become more comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English.
And don't forget about setting realistic goals. Start with small, achievable targets, like having a 5-minute conversation in English each day, and gradually increase the difficulty as you become more confident.
Speaking of setting goals, let's dive into common phrases and idioms that can make you sound more natural. Mark, do you have any favorites you'd like to share?
One of my favorites is step out of your comfort zone. It means to do something new and challenging. For example, joining the debate club helped me step out of my comfort zone.
That's a good one. I also like practice makes perfect. It means that the more you practice something, the better you become at it. For example, don't worry if you make mistakes. Practice makes perfect.
Great examples, Ariana. Now, let's move on to common grammar challenges. One thing that often confuses learners is the difference between will and going to. Could you explain that?
Sure, Mark. Will is used for decisions made at the moment of speaking, like I will help you with that. Going to, on the other hand, is used for plans or intentions decided before the moment of speaking, like I am going to visit my friend next week.
Thanks for that explanation. It's definitely one of those tricky areas. Another common challenge is using the correct prepositions. Many learners struggle with prepositions of time like in, on, and at. Could you give us a brief overview, Ariana?
Of course. In is used for months, years, and longer periods, like in January or in 2023. On is used for days and dates, like on Monday or on July 15th. At is used for specific times, like at 5 p.m. or at noon.
That's a great explanation. Now, let's talk about something we all need to practice, polite phrases. Ariana, what are some good phrases for asking for help politely?
Good question, Mark. Some polite ways to ask for help include, could you please help me with this? Or would you mind explaining that to me? Being polite can make a big difference in how people respond to you.
That's very true. And if you need to interrupt someone politely, you can say, excuse me, may I ask a question, or I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
Excellent tips, Mark. Now, let's circle back to overcoming the fear of making mistakes. One effective technique is to focus on the message, not the mistakes. Remember, communication is about getting your point across, not being perfect.
Exactly. Another technique is positive self-talk. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, try telling yourself, I can do this. It's okay to make mistakes.
That's a great point, Mark. Also, try to surround yourself with supportive people who encourage you to practice and improve. Having a positive support system can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And don't forget to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every step forward is an achievement worth recognizing.
Well said, Mark. Now, let's delve deeper into practical exercises that can help our listeners improve their English speaking skills. Mark, what are some effective ways to practice pronunciation?
Pronunciation is crucial for clear communication. One effective exercise is shadowing, where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say, focusing on mimicking their intonation and rhythm.
That's a great technique, Mark. Another helpful exercise is tongue twisting. They not only improve pronunciation but also enhance fluency and articulation. Would you like to share a tongue twister with our listeners?
Sure. How about this one? She sells seashells by the seashore. It's a classic tongue twister that's fun to practice and great for improving pronunciation.
That's a good one, Mark. Another area where many learners struggle is with listening comprehension. What strategies do you recommend for improving listening skills?
One effective strategy is active listening. Focus on understanding the main ideas and key details when listening to podcasts, audiobooks, or even conversations with native speakers.
Absolutely. It's also helpful to listen to a variety of accents and speech speeds to train your ear to different styles of English. Exposure to different voices will improve your overall comprehension.
And don't forget about using subtitles or transcripts when watching movies or videos in English. They can help you connect spoken words with written language and improve your understanding.
That's a great tip, Mark. Now, let's shift gears and discuss how cultural awareness can enhance your English communication skills. Understanding cultural nuances and customs can greatly improve your interactions with native speakers.
Absolutely, Ariana. Cultural awareness includes understanding gestures, humor, and social norms. It helps you navigate conversations more smoothly and build stronger connections with others.
For example, in some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as a sign of respect and attentiveness, while in others, it may be perceived as confrontational. Being aware of these differences can prevent misunderstandings.
That's a great point, Ariana. Now, let's address a topic that many learners struggle with: building vocabulary. Ariana, what are some effective ways to expand your English vocabulary?
One of the best ways is through reading. Whether it's books, articles, or even online blogs, exposing yourself to new words in context helps you understand their meanings and usage.
Absolutely. And when you come across a new word, make it a habit to look up its meaning and how it's used in a sentence. This reinforces your understanding and helps you remember the word more effectively.
Another effective strategy is using flashcards or vocabulary apps to practice and review new words regularly. Repetition is key to retaining information and expanding your vocabulary.
And don't forget about incorporating new words into your daily conversations or writing. The more you use them, the more natural they will become in your language repertoire.
That's right, Mark. Now, let's touch on a topic that many learners find challenging: constructing complex sentences. Mark, what tips do you have for our listeners who want to improve their sentence structure?
One effective tip is to vary your sentence lengths and structures. Mix shorter sentences with longer ones to create a natural flow and keep your listener engaged.
That's a good strategy, Mark. Another tip is to practice using conjunctions like and, but, and because to connect ideas. This helps you create more complex and cohesive sentences.
And don't hesitate to use transitional phrases like on the other hand, in addition to, or however, to add clarity and coherence to your sentences.
Excellent suggestions, Mark. Now, let's address a question from one of our listeners. We received a comment from Sarah, who asked, "How can I improve my English speaking skills if I don't have native speakers to practice with?"
That's a common challenge, Sarah. One solution is to join online language exchange platforms where you can connect with native speakers who are learning your native language. It's a mutually beneficial way to practice speaking.
Absolutely, Mark. You can also find language clubs or discussion groups in your area or online where you can practice speaking English with other learners. The key is to create opportunities for conversation and practice regularly.
There are many language learning apps and websites that offer virtual conversation partners and language exchange opportunities.
That's right, Mark. Now, let's address another common concern: fear of speaking in public or in front of others. Many learners struggle with this. What advice do you have for overcoming this fear, Mark?
One effective technique is gradual exposure. Start by speaking in front of a small group of friends or family members who can provide supportive feedback. As you become more comfortable, gradually increase the size of your audience.
That's a good approach, Mark. It's also helpful to practice relaxation techniques like deep breathing or visualization to calm your nerves before speaking. Remember, everyone experiences nerves. It's how you manage them that matters.
Absolutely, Ariana. And don't forget about the power of positive thinking. Focus on your strengths and the progress you've made rather than dwelling on perceived weaknesses or mistakes.
Well said, Mark. And if you're facing a specific challenge or struggling with a particular aspect of English, don't hesitate to seek guidance from a language tutor or teacher who can provide personalized support.
That's excellent advice, Ariana. Remember, building confidence in speaking English is a journey. Celebrate your achievements along the way, and keep pushing yourself to reach new goals.
Absolutely, Mark. If you found this podcast helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more tips and discussions on improving your English skills.
And don't forget to leave a comment about your own experiences with building confidence in speaking English. We'd love to hear from you.
If you have any personal questions to ask, you can also email the email ID given in the channel about section.
Thanks for listening to the Great English Podcast. Until next time, keep practicing and stay confident.
Goodbye, everyone.